Welcome to the first of several summer shorts from the EPS podcast. I'm Eric Paul. These were recorded in early June of 2022 at the New Hampshire Makers Faire, which was held at the Children's Museum of New Hampshire in Dover. I invited other makers as well as passersby to stop by my table and chat about, well, anything and everything. My first guest was Carolyn Watkins. She's a teacher by trade, and as of 2018, an author. She sat down to talk to me about her book, The Knock, a collection of childhood memories. I hope you enjoy listening. Make sure to seek out Carolyn and her book online on Amazon. Enjoy. So I am here at the New Hampshire Children's Museum on Maker Fest Day, and I'm glad to have at my table right now Carolyn Watkins, who is an author, and she has a book called The Knock, a collection of childhood memories. And treating everything as a primary source, even things that were made not long ago, is what we're all about here. So the question that we chose to talk about is, what material is this made from, and/or how was this made? And so let me just, first of all, welcome you to the short show.
Thank you.
And you were saying before I hit record that this is something that you learned a lot about the publishing industry from your creating this book.
The publishing process, how to do self-publishing, writing your thoughts, getting your editor, then going through the development of making the book, the graphic designer, interviewing illustrators, all of that. It really is a team effort. It's not your own show.
So you almost like relinquish the control over your idea pretty soon after it comes up.
Somewhat. It's always my baby.
Right. So you get the ultimate
Right.
decisions on certain parts
Right.
of it, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about this. It's a collection of childhood memories. Is it all of your own childhood memories, or is it other people that you've talked to, or?
Yes, it is my memories. It was my childhood when my dad went to Vietnam, and that parental separation. And what made me think of writing this book was when I was a classroom teacher.
Okay.
And saw kids going through anxieties that weren't the same but similar, in the sense that you start thinking about parental separation,
Yeah.
and irregardless of the situation, the feelings are the same.
They really are.
So I had staff who really didn't know how, they knew, but they didn't have books or a means to help them help kids cope with these situations.
I see.
So we would have families struggling because of drug addiction, incarceration, and kids would have to deal with this. So I used my story as a means to help
I see.
the staff help children cope with those issues.
So we actually have a lot more in common than because I'm also a teacher here in town,
Right.
and I grew up on the Air Force Base, and so part of that life of being an Air Force brat, military Army brat, is that from time to time. Now, thankfully, so my dad is of the Vietnam generation, but he entered the military during Vietnam, because the way the story goes is that his series of draft numbers had come up, and he decided, I'm going to choose which branch I go into. So by the time I was born, Vietnam was over, but there was still that, because he was a career in the military, he had to be deployed from time to time, and he went on an extended, they call it TDY, for about, I think it was 15 months. And so for 15 months we were without Dad at home. And this is long before internet and Zoom and even
exactly.
we couldn't even do long distance phone calls. Right. He had to go to like a communication place, and and we had to say over and out when we wanted to talk to him. So I'm sure you had a similar experience.
1 letter a month. My dad was, well, it was before internet.
Yeah.
So it was a letter a month. And that's how we would stay in contact.
So you're saying that the way that you came up with this idea for this book wasn't necessarily for other military kids necessarily. It was anyone, because I know that in the modern military there's a little bit more communication because of technology. I mean, there's still security things, but
right.
What you experienced with having 1 letter a month may be along the same lines as somebody who has a parent who's in prison, or somebody who doesn't know where their parent went.
The theme of the book is that irregardless of the situation, all children feel that angst when they miss a parent.
Yeah. And
I used my story to help them try to cope.
That's a really profound thing to do, right? Because, I mean, you could have taken, so you wanted to be a writer. You wanted to write a book. Mm-hmm. And you could have probably, I'm sure, as your career as a teacher, you've probably had lots of stories come in and out of your mind.
35.
And so you could probably come up with something. But instead of looking for something maybe to, become popular with a silly, out there,
Yeah, it's not that.
children's book, you wanted to do something that was more poignant and helpful.
My hope is that after they have read the story, they understand that any form of communication will help them get through that situation.
Yeah.
That it's the connections there. Be a teacher, guidance counselor, friend, whomever, but don't hold it in.
Yeah.
It will make you feel better if you talk about it.
And books are such an important component of that, because unlike other resources, the child can hold the book. They can take it anywhere they want. They can look at it anytime they want.
They can look at the pictures. They can interpret. They can say, oh, that reminds me of that, something. There are connections there that they can make. And the illustrations are deliberately drawn for that time, because the story happened in the 1960s. Mm-hmm. So they have a nostalgic look. And you wanted to make sure of that, right? You didn't want Absolutely.
to have... I guess that's a choice. So when you worked with the illustrator, mm-hmm. and you said that was part of the process of trying to find the right illustrator, mm-hmm. Did they have that style already that you said reminded you a lot of the era?
My first book, her first illustrated book. We were newbies together. We learned the process together.
Is it something you would do again?
There are 2 levels, because I entered the book into a contest, and I was told to kick it up a few notches and make it more middle school.
Okay.
And I'm glad I took that advice, because total we have 12 awards.
Oh, wow.
With 3 5-star reviews included.
I see.
I'm on my next book, which is I Don't Want to Move.
Ah, that's another.
And I'm getting ideas for my 3rd.
Wow.
So I'm always thinking.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at
Well, I can imagine now that you have the process.
Yeah.
Under
the process is different now.
Yeah, once you learned it, though, it's not
right
as daunting, perhaps, to say, okay, now idea turns into... And I think that's probably something that's true around this entire festival today, is
mm-hmm.
that a lot of the people who are making things, whether it be jewelry or soldering things, or in my case, a podcast, I think if you listen to my first episode, you can hear my kind of shaky voice, and I didn't know what to do. And you said this is your first podcast
Yes,
right now,
it
and
is.
you have another one coming up in a few days. So hopefully it'll make it that much easier next time because you're
Now
like,
I
oh yeah,
know.
it's just talking, really. That's
Yeah.
what it comes down to.
Chatting.
So I guess it's very informative. Your book and the process and the theme of it and everything is very informative about our current time period
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
because you could have made a website, right?
I do.
You could have, translated your story into a video, but you chose book specifically because that's a proven thing, isn't it? That's a proven medium. So it's
It needs to get into the hands
Yeah.
of kids and schools.
right, and I'm glad that it's applicable to several levels because it's not just the little kids that need that story.
Yeah.
It's
Level 1 is for ages 6 to 8. Level 2 is for ages 9 to 12.
okay.
So
Kind of speak on their different levels.
Level 2 has more information in it, more history. The reader can make more connections with what's there. It's at a higher level, written for that age group.
So it's very revealing also that you have training as a teacher because
Yes.
you can
It
take.
actually follows best practices.
Okay, so you can take, and as teachers who know what they're doing, right, have the experience that you do, you know how to take a certain subject and then know your audience, right? You
Right.
know how to either bump
Right.
up, like you said, or level down, depending
Yeah.
on who you're speaking to. Well, thank you for speaking with me today.
Thank you.
I had a great time, and hopefully we'll both have a great rest of the day here at the Dover.
Thank you very much for having me.
Children's Center,
Before I
or
forget.
Children's Museum. All right.
I hope you enjoyed listening to that summer short. Make sure to tune in every week this summer to hear more of these short episodes from the EPS podcast. In the meantime, check out the show online at www.epspodcast.club as well as patreon.com/EPS podcast. We'll talk to you next time.